Absolutely.
There you go. You see it?
Oh, Abiwoni Banakaba. It was hard for me to pronounce that. But yeah, this actually is from a CD. This is Kakraba by himself, singing and playing. This is the kind of player he was, and it's so liquid, the rhythm that you can't count it or follow it with mathematics. It's really, he blew my mind when I first heard him, and he kept blowing my mind ever since then.
I believe it. Hey, Chris, will you keep that lower third up there for a sec? I want to direct Val's attention to it because I was really blown away by the process of creating the geel. Am I pronouncing that right? The geel?
Geel. It's called geel.
Yeah. Geel, got
look at here. Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that great? You know, he was an excellent maker of geely. Geely is a bunch of them. You know, geel is one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have to tell you, one time I brought him here to perform at the Percussive Arts Society International Convention in 1999, and he said before he left, "Next year, I bring myself." I said, "Okay, cool. You bring yourself." But what he did is he brought, I think, 15 geely. He had all the parts, and the package was like, it was the size of a small car. I don't know how he got it onto that airplane. And when he came walking, talk about Santa Claus. Part of the geel they're called calabashes. They're gourds about. The smallest one's about that size, but the biggest one's about that size. He had a huge bag on his back that was about the size of him. And I said, "How the heck did you how did they allow you to bring this on?" And he just said,
"How did you get through customs with that?"
They love music. They love music. They know I'm a musician. I make music. You know, they like it. They like it. So they let me bring. I said, "Oh my God, talk about making the impossible possible." But Kakraba was just one of those people. Like I said, he was my mentor for 17 years. He loved people. He loved kids. Man, he couldn't walk by a little kid without just, going and engaging with them. He loved bridging cultures. He loved building bridges, and it was, such an honor and a pleasure to study with such a person. And not only that, he was a bad boy musician. I mean, he was one of the 3 top geel players of all time. So
I believe it. Your spirit lights up when you speak of him, and learning the small amount I did about the process of the 5 different types of wood that come from different places. Like, it sounds like the man was a true master of the instrument.
He was, and he was the master of happiness. I have to say, in that way, and that's really what a lot about what music is about, is to change your life condition and raise it. And I just remember once he came, on one of his trips to the States, he was going to play for a group that I had assembled in the living room. And he looked so tired. I said, "Kakraba, don't. Just go rest. You look really tired." He said, No, I said, I give my word. So he went and, sat down for 2 minutes, and then he came. He literally shuffled into the room. He was so tired. He sat behind that instrument and just, to say that he blew people's minds is not enough. He changed the energy of the room. And he did that over and over again. And it was a pleasure and an honor to watch such a person be able to do that, to be able to just impart such joy. I mean, what you're listening to right now is, it's very complex. And a lot of players, when they play it as an American, you kind of go, Yeah, that's cool. That's impressive. No, that's really complicated. You must have had to study a long time. But when Kakraba delivered it, it's like he was shooting arrows of love right straight into your heart, and
Uh,
man, I learned so much about being a musician from him.
something
Yay!
that you just, yeah, something you just said really kind of almost like changed like a life perspective of mine, or a belief that the idea of like, in one hand, you have this that happiness is a fleeting emotion, and you can't always be happy. You go through your ups and downs, but happiness comes and goes. But the way you just put it, and Karaba being a master of happiness and changing your life condition and raising it. I've never heard that perspective before, and it kind of blew my mind over here, because what a beautiful way to approach life. Not that happiness is fleeting, but to change the conditions of your life and raise the vibration. I really like that.
Um, I am a Nichiren Buddhist, and I'm sure if you know anything about Buddhism, it's about working on the inside. And
Yeah.
I think I've just had so many great mentors who just said it comes from here.
Yeah.
So that meant, in terms of being new to when I was new to the practice, it's like, because we're used to saying, or I was used, let me put it this way, I was used to saying to myself, oh, this is a good thing's happening to me. Yeah, cool, I'm happy. And then something would come, like some obstacle or some mishap, and you'd go, oh shoot, I'm sad. And I actually told one of my Buddhist mentors, Buster Williams, who is an amazing jazz bass player, worked a lot with Herbie Hancock and with many others. I mentioned in a phone conversation, I said, I'm sad. And he said, no, you're not sad. You're a Buddha walking through sadness, and you're going to walk through it. And I kind of took that, for the rest of my life. I said, you never have to walk through, and even when you're walking through happiness, the Navajo have a saying, may you always walk in beauty. Meaning that your journey is it's like taking a walk. You
Hmm.
can, I can walk through, right now, if I took a walk, I'd be walking through this green, beautiful stuff, and it's about to rain. If I continue my walk, it's going to rain and get me sopping wet, and probably pretty cold because it's about 50 degrees outside. But I can choose, if I work from the inside, I can choose to be miserable. Shoot, man, I'm going to catch a cold. This is so awful. Or I can just say, hey, let me turn around, walk back to the house, change clothes. And man, I'm so glad that the rain is going to water my garden. So it's really a matter of perspective. And, I had lots of good mentors, including my father and my mother, definitely my mother too, who said, um, if you look at what something's going to teach you, and if you look how something's going to connect you to things you've never been connected to, you're probably going to look at everything, every mishap and misfortune, as something that is good for you, or at least is good.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I was lucky. I've
Reminds
been
me
lucky.
of, yeah. It reminds me of the Buddhist belief that this too shall pass. Sadness,
Yes.
happiness, whatever it is, it will pass.